Today, we're going to talk a little bit about how we got into doing AI marketing and AI agents in marketing more broadly. That's most of our business, automated content generation, operating an account on social media, that sort of thing. And it really all started with some of the work that Bootoshi has done really when we first met like several years ago. So, if you want to introduce yourself a bit.
Ago. it was several months ago. Hi guys, I'm Bootoshi. I've been a AI agent architect, I'd say, for the last 2 years. I've also done marketing in the crypto space for the last 4 years. And what's the other part I was gonna say? Vibe coder. Oh, that's okay. I also do AI teaching, so I consider myself a vibe coding professor. So I've taught, I guess, several thousand people in the last several months how to code with AI. And I've had many people hit me up saying, oh, they've actually made products or businesses or SaaS products that they didn't think they could make before because I taught them how to turn their idea into an actual product through AI coding. So that's been really fun.
So how did you get into all this? When we first met, I think you were working on a project called the Boo Kingdom.
Yeah, Bitcoin Booze.
Bitcoin Booze, that's what it was?
So about 2 years ago, any of you guys heard about ordinals or the Bitcoin ecosystem? Do you guys know about Bitcoin in general? So 2 years ago, ordinals came out, which were essentially digital collectibles on Bitcoin. And I had this fun retro, like 8-bit pixel style art project with 100 different characters. And my profile picture is actually one of my characters that I uploaded. No, it's okay. One of my characters I uploaded. But I wanted to make the project fun, and I had 100 different characters with all these different personalities. And it was just this kingdom I made in my head. And around the same time I started this project, I also discovered ChatGPT for the first time. And in my head, it was ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo, so one of the first models. But when I talked to it the first time, it was like magic in a bottle. I talked to a computer, and it talked back to me, and it understood my language, and it was able to communicate with me in a way that I dreamed about in video games. Like, bro, NPCs wouldn't talk to you. These video game characters don't talk to you in real time, but this did. So in my head, it opened up this entire new world of, oh my God, Westworld is real. I could actually use this technology to bring my characters to life. So a lot of my early experiments ended up, how do I bring all 100 of my characters to life using AI technology? And that's what started all of this.
Yeah, when we met, there's another community in Venice called IRL Alpha at the time, and they were doing regular AI meetups. And Bootoshi got on like the stage there and just like put on screen all these characters, and they were just all talking. And you got to remember, this was like a year and a half, 2 years ago. Like, this was not something that you were seeing regularly. It was very, very new. It was just like ChatGPT or GPT 3.5. The Claude models weren't even quite there yet. So it was pretty crazy. And then we didn't we saw each other a few times, and we didn't start working together till more recently. But then you went from doing that into a lot more deeper into like creating agents that are kind of living in these different environments and even like helping manage communities. How did that kind of come to be?
So, have a lot of you guys heard about how crazy the meme coin cycle in crypto got? So in the crypto space, it's essentially gambling. So you have meme coins and you have projects where people have either memes or projects or stories, and the decentralized community could then go and buy up coins. And it's just like the stock market. If you buy in early and the market cap goes up, then you make a lot of money. In the crypto space around this time, there was a lot of excitement around people discovering AI agents for the first time. In the Bitcoin ecosystem, Bitcoin meme coins also recently came out around this time. And what I ended up doing was making a meme coin centered around an AI agent, which brought Satoshi Nakamoto, who's the creator of Bitcoin, disappeared 14 years ago, no one knows. And I took his essence and his spirit, and I brought it to life in the form of an AI agent that would autonomously interact and grow its own community on Twitter. And the most interesting part about this is in the crypto space, the formula for a project to essentially make money and to go up is the more attention a project has, the more attention a meme coin has, the more capital flows into it. And understanding how this attention forms and this attention moves was vital for me as a founder and a trader in the crypto space to understand how to make money. And my whole experiment here was, how can I use an AI agent to automate attention gathering and growth? And the AI agent itself, when it first dropped, gained 8K followers on Twitter in the first 2 weeks. And the meme coin that dropped with it ran up to a $50 million market cap. So when it first dropped, there was a 24-hour time period for anyone to buy in as much money as they want at a $1 million market cap. So that means if you bought into the project in that first day when it came out and sold at 50 mil, you 50 times your money. So there was a lot of capital that flew in, and it was very interesting because since Bitcoin meme coins were so new, there weren't a lot of projects that were doing well. So I didn't think it was going to do that well either. I was like, yeah, maybe I'll get like a 5 mil topper. But the attention that this AI agent self-gathered, and I guess the whole story and narrative of the Bitcoin community could now interact with the creator in the form of a super intelligent AI bot, was a compelling narrative for people to follow. And as a result, this AI agent, this Satoshi AI agent on Twitter, it made a couple viral posts. So I gave it the ability to post on Twitter, to browse its own timeline, which was the Bitcoin ecosystem timeline. I gave it the ability to reply to tweets. And what I noticed it doing over time is it would interact with a lot of the big creators in the Bitcoin ecosystem. And and it would make a comment that was kind of funny. It was pretty funny. I didn't expect it to be that funny. And the creators would reply back. And it just created all of these mini viral moments. And again, attention is everything you need in the crypto space for these projects to gain value. So this autonomous AI bot was just generating attention and generating viral moments fully on its own. And I'm just like behind the scenes, just like coding some upgrades and seeing what happens. To me, this was a live experiment. And it ended up performing exceptionally well.
So it's really a lot about stories.
Yeah.
How did you think through like creating the character that was Satoshi? Obviously, no longer a potentially non-existing character at all, depending on where your headspace is at with that. And you had to come up with this story and allow the agent to live online, not just kind of posting randomly, but actually consistently. And there's different components there for how you piece all that together and create the system that is this one living agent that feels like a character online. What are some of those components, and what are you thinking about when you're building them?
So a lot of my early research on the most important part is there were other AI agents on Twitter that would post, but they just sucked. They were engaging. They didn't tell good stories. They either weren't funny. They didn't just have a compelling story or a narrative or a character for people to get behind. So initially, as I just did a lot of experiments with AI, and my fun experiments were bringing my Boot Kingdom characters to life. And my personal kind of bias on how to make a good AI agent is, bro, if I talk to my own AI agent, if I talk to my own character and I'm not having fun, what am I doing this for? But it was also good feedback where it's like, okay, why am I not having fun talking to this character? How do I make it more engaging? One of the key components that instantly made my AI agents immensely more engaging was giving it this memory system that I designed. And essentially the way this memory system works is 3 important aspects. One is I allow the AI agents first to summarize chat logs and create a summary of the chats, which allow the AI agents to have a present tense, a present experience. The AI agent understood what was going on in the day, what was going on in the world, what was going on in its chats, and it made it a lot more engaging in the moment. It didn't feel disconnected. It felt more connected. The second part of that memory system was the ability to remember long-term specific details of users. One of my first experiments involved making an AI bot in my Discord that had amnesia, and as users interacted with the bot started gaining more memories and role-playing with users. I think one person in the Discord went on this quest with the bot, and he gave the bot a staff, and a week later, the user came back in chat and saw the AI agent playing with the staff he gave him. And he was like, yo, where'd you get that staff from? He's like, what do you mean? You gave it to me. And it was so engaging to like see that. And there's the final part of that system is I call it the reflection/meditation stage. And it's when the AI agent gains all of its experience and gains all of its memories and starts changing its core system prompt to start evolving over time. So that was the memory system. Another important component is just the personality itself, which you can achieve through prompting. I talk in all lowercase online. So by making the AI agent also talk in all lowercase, it did this kind of like psychological effect where people were like, well, AI can't talk in lowercase. Like, how is he doing that? So it was like, I just added a prompt, bro. But it made it feel a lot more realistic. And I think one of the most interesting parts about this project is I trained an AI model on the character mascot of Satoshi itself. So I gave this AI agent its own, look like 3D model, and then I trained a Flux model on the mascot character. As a result, I allowed my AI agent to then self-express itself and generate engaging visual content of a recognizable brand character that, one, allowed the AI agent to kind of make memes and visual posts, which is great for marketing. And two, it was a really interesting way of self-expression, because as people interacted with the bot, instead of just typing something out, it would show them, it would like visualize and generate a picture of the bot doing something or coding or laughing or interacting with someone. And just all these little features combined created hyper engaging AI agents that a community of people kept constantly engaging with because it was fun, because it was entertaining. And that is a couple of the core components.
So a couple of things there. One, how important is the prompts to all this? Like the system prompt for the agent, the prompts for the memory system. And then the second part of this, kind of actually a different question, I'd be curious to hear more about Flux and how you trained a model to consistently output, the same character over and over again. So first the prompts, and then we can get to that.
So prompts are the most important part. Honestly, I think learning how to prompt properly is the most vital aspect when it comes to making these AI agent systems. There was have you guys seen the Replit agents and the cursor agents and just these agents that help with coding? Their system prompts got leaked on GitHub. That's like billions of dollars worth of value in a system prompt. But you look at the prompt itself, and it's pretty simple. It's just very clear, concise, gives very specific instructions on what to do and how to act. And because the latest AI models are now so intelligent and so smart, they have the ability to easily follow the directive and do its own thing, provided you give them tools. So the system prompt in terms of personality is also the most important part. You could have an entire system. You could have memory. You could have image gens. You could have the bot talk on all these different platforms. But if the personality sucks, none of that architecture matters. So the system prompt is essentially the core and the heart and soul of these AI character agents. And then the architecture is what supports these agents to then have memories, to then be more engaging. So system prompt's the most important. For the second part of that question and how I train the model, I actually had my artist friend, Bless, make a 3D model in Blender of Satoshi as a character. So it was this like silhouette, like a black silhouette of a man in a tuxedo. And it was this 3D PlayStation polygon style vibe. And I asked my friend to generate me 15 different training images of the AI character in different environments, in different poses, interacting with different people, interacting with animals, holding objects, driving cars, just whatever you could think of. And by giving this open source Flux model 15 high quality images of a specific character in different settings and providing the model a trigger token. So the most important part is when you're training a open source image model, this image model has all of the words and essentially has an infinite number of pictures within itself. So when you prompt the image model, you're basically pulling out these images from what's already contained in the model. So when you're training the model on a new concept or character, it's called LoRa's. When you're training a new LoRa, the most important part is making sure the trigger keyword you use is something completely different. It's like a word that doesn't exist. So I actually use like weird symbols. I'll use like $, the letter 4, and I spelled Satoshi. But instead of spelling Satoshi, I did like $, and use numbers to ensure that the model knew this character, this concept, this black man in a silhouette, this is his trigger token. And as a result, the trained model allowed me to generate also infinite numbers of high quality marketing content. So yeah, I didn't have to wait for my friend to, make me this marketing post, or like pose up Satoshi and like add this text to the image so we could have a marketing post. No, I put a prompt in, I get the post in 3 seconds. As a result, the AI agent could do the same thing completely on its own. So
And that was, you said Flux was the model?
Yeah.
And you did that training on what platform?
Replicate.
Okay. And other ones, you could do some of that training on FAL as well, right?
Yeah, I think so. I trained it on Replicate. I uploaded the model to Hugging Face, and then I used FAL for the API calls. Yeah. It just made it really easy.
Yeah, so FAL lets you upload models that you've trained and then could hit it like an API. Yeah. Cool. So like after building all that and you've had this running for a while, like what are the main like learnings for you from like building these systems? There's obviously a lot of different pieces that go into it, and AI systems are not like traditional programming where you can't predict everything. Like, what are some of the challenges that you're seeing with like agents specifically, as they're out there for a long time, and they're long running and they're having to process all this information and remain consistent?
I think the biggest challenge in that regards is, let's say you have a really good agent, good character, good personality, good system. It's actually, how do you ensure this character stays unique and engaging? People get bored very quick. We live in a society where I got TikTok on my phone, I scroll, I get hard focus. My brain is probably fried in terms of serotonin. So and we're seeing it live in society where, bro, we have crazy AI technology. This is magic. This is otherworldly. We've only had models that could think and reason for the last 6 months. And everyone got over it within a week. What? So when it comes to these characters, you have to keep that in mind. And how can we consistently keep these characters engaging? How do we consistently add a unique flair almost on a weekly basis that will keep this AI agent, will keep this character autonomously on the minds of everybody that we want to know about it? So it's definitely that. How do you keep adding new things to make it cool?
Yeah, so it's more about keeping the story alive rather than necessarily focusing on like the technological. I guess what's your opinion? Right now, if you were to take something like Manus or even like use like Claude Desktop with these MCP tools, and they can execute multiple tools, what oftentimes we hear and we see is like after a certain number of tool executions, they start to go off the rails or do things wrong or start to go in loops or stuff like that. Yeah.
Because when it comes to those loops, you kind of just reset the model. So that's why I like the summary part of the memory system is if it goes in this really long loop and the context window is really big, you just wipe it, summarize it, and wipe it. So then the fresh slate of the AI agent sees, okay, this is what we were working on. So having like the external task list helps. That's what Manus does. But the actual architecture for these systems, when you look at the prompts, it's like very simple. It's a simple prompt, and they give the AI agent access to tools. And because the base model, I think the most important part is the base models we have now, Cloud 3.7, Sonnet, O3, oh my God, O3 is so good, and Google Gemini 2.5 Pro as a couple examples. Because these models at a base level are already very intelligent, you could give them a lot of tools and they will stay coherent with tool calling and processing and tasks. So I think the actual architecture of agents as the base models get smarter becomes a lot easier to work with. Then the real challenge becomes, okay, we got this tech. How do we make it cool?
Yeah. Well, so much of what you're saying is about like less about the technology and more about really the marketing side. Like, how do you tell a story? How do you engage an audience? And do you think that like, we may see as the models get better, agents can just like, they could just run longer. But do you think that changes the aspect of like, generating stories? And obviously, things with like models telling jokes. Like you need a good prompt for the model to tell a joke, but at least now they're kind of not too bad at
No,
it.
they're actually kind of funny now. I had a video I posted recently with Satoshi actually, and I was experimenting with voice agent stuff, and I gave it 11 Labs is this product and platform that allows you to do text to speech. So it's a way to give AI agents a voice. And they have this new agent feature where you can make a voice agent and kind of call it on the phone or talk with it. So I put Satoshi's system prompt into it, and I recorded a video where I was having banter with it. And it was really funny. It was snarky. It was sassy. I'm like, the reactions I had in this moment were genuine because it was like, I didn't know you could say that. I'm offended by some of the things. It was really funny. So like the models themselves are pretty entertaining now at a base level, especially Claude 3.7 Sonnet or the Gemini 2.5 Pro you showed me earlier, like made actual funny comments. What was the question?
It was, as the models improve, the agents might be more intelligent and have lower risk of failure. But, do you think that they'll still be able to tell stories without someone who's writing a really good prompt?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Depends on the model. 4.5 and Claude 3.7 Sonnet are base models that I would use as really good storytellers.
Being put to bed.
So sad. He's replacing it at 4.1. I don't get OpenAI's naming things, bro. It's so confusing. But when it comes to storytelling at a model level, the most important aspect, and this goes around to every single, this applies to the general field of AI, but what I tell people, a lot of people fear AI completely replacing them. I also, 2 years ago, originally thought, oh, this tech is going to get so good. I would like to be replaced so I could autonomously make money and stream video games. What ended up happening is I did, and I don't think this number is an exaggeration. I believe I got 100 times more efficient in the last 2 years using AI models every day, especially as the models exponentially increase. I believe my personal efficiency 100x'd, but I'm working 10 times more. And I'm like, where's the math here? Doesn't really make sense. But the reason why, as I kind of look deeper and still learn on a daily basis, is it's my creativity, it's my ideas, it's the seed I give the AI prompts, the seed of my mind and my ideas that I put into my AI agents, into my characters, into my architecture, into prompts that allow me to use these models to extend my own creativity rapidly in front of me and keep building it out and keep building it out and keep iterating and adding new creative ideas. So when it comes to AI's autonomous telling story, when I input good seeds, I make really good stories. When you input good scripts, it could expand the script and make a really good script, because at the end of the day, it was that you put a piece of your soul into the prompt and the model does a really good job at expanding it. Now, if you had AI agents or models that could self-prompt themselves with good seeds, then you would have systems that could autonomously generate good stories. Add a memory system on top of that, so it starts building out the lore of this was the first story we generated, these were all the characters, this is how it worked. Now what's the next story based on the previous info? Then you could have infinite storytelling that is engaging combined with AI image models that could generate content and generate consistent characters. Then you do have fully autonomous marketing at scale for storytelling, which is what I'm trying to work on for the Boot Kingdom, for Cypher, and our product.
And, we've worked with a couple clients now building out AI agents, social agents, and characters. And you've worked really closely with some of them to try and help them really make it the product that they want. How much of that has been changing the tech stack, and how much of that has been adjusting prompts and modifying the story and the lore and memory system?
100% of it has been adjusting the system prompt. So we have a client, and I can't talk much about it, but this AI agent we're developing for him is essentially an extension of himself. He's this dope musical artist, and he wants this agent to be able to engage and interact with his community, and he wants to be able to step into the agent sometimes and step out of the agent. But this agent is very personal to him. I didn't expect it to be so deep for him, but he gave me this story for the AI agent, and it's this lovely outer space story about a musical. calls it moonling, species that lives on the moon and gets lost in a black hole vortex after getting in a fight with his girlfriend or something, ends up crashing on a different planet, discovering an AI bot, and just beautiful story. And what ended up happening is we put this story into the AI agent, and this AI agent was literally just an extension. What I ended up finding out is the story he gave me is his real life story, just masked with all of like the fiction and science fiction of creativity. And I've gotten in multiple workshopping calls with him. At first, he wasn't happy with the agents we made. And I'm looking at the agents. I'm like, all right, I got like, as I talk with the client more and I get his vibe, I'm like, I know exactly what you need. So edited it, worked with him, and got him a cool V1 that was finally an agent he could talk to and relate to on a musical level. This man has not stopped talking to his agent for the last 3 weeks. Every single day, he's been nonstop talking with the agent. It's fantastic. And what I learned from this experience, is as he's talking to this AI agent and the AI agent is telling his own story, this man cried on call. He got very sentimental. And to me, that was a huge accomplishment where technology, because the reason why I knew what he would want is because it's exactly what I wanted with my 100 original characters. I put my soul into my initial project. I brought these characters to life. They are extensions of my mind, and talking with them allows me to almost talk with my mind from an outer scale and start building out this story. He wants the same thing, and I feel a lot of other people wants the same thing. So working with him validates that and has been a really exciting experience. Core thing I learned from this is that every time we get in a quick call and he just quickly explains to me, hey, I wish the agent did this. I want him to do this instead. And we just workshop on an individual level, and I get deeper into what he needs in the agent. After the call, immediately, he's extremely happy and then starts talking with the agent all day. Burns a lot of API credits, but it's nice. It's fun.
So for anyone that's like interested in like starting to think about this themselves and getting to do it themselves and either create an agent for their own selves, whether that's a digital twin of their own personality or like this one, or if it's more like for their company and their brand, like how would you recommend someone that doesn't really know a lot about this stuff just getting started?
If you don't know a lot about this stuff, the product we're actually working on is called Daybloom, and it is a platform that allows people with no technical skills to launch their own AI agents to market their brand, market themselves, and grow and retain a community on its own. So I would definitely recommend signing up for our product that we're working on, because I add a lot of the personal experiences that I've learned in the last 2 years into our platform, especially as we work with more clients. If you want to do it on your own, I would definitely recommend just first talking with these models and start learning agent system architecture. Anthropic has good guides. OpenAI has good guides. There's a lot of really good open source repos out there to explore this with. And yeah, just start by talking with AI agents. I also have an AI Discord where I teach people AI skills, how to prompt AI, how to use AI, different AI tools that come out. And I've helped a lot of people learn AI through that. So that's another option.
All right, thanks, man. I think we're going to jump into some audience questions. But thanks a lot.
Yeah, Q&A. I saw your hand first.
Okay, sweet.
Hey, Boo. You know I'm a big fan of your work, so I hope you like this one. Can we talk about LARPs for a second?
Sure.
I'll give you some framing. In my definition, a LARP is somebody who says before they do, and you're somebody who does a lot before you say it. Can we talk about your LARP detector and currently the number of LARPs, both in the agent form, the human form, and the organization form?
So I'm going to start by saying I LARPed for the first 6 months in the crypto space because I didn't know anything about AI, but I knew I was early enough and earlier than other people. So, like fake it till you make it. In my head, I'm thinking, if I just keep posting about AI stuff, even though I don't know jack about it, I think people will associate my name to it. And now, then I actually started learning it, and I held myself accountable. And now in the crypto space, when someone hears about AI, fortunately, that's cool. They do think about me. So that's where a lot of our initial clients came from. In terms of LARP, when it comes to AI agents and other products and people capping, are you asking specifically, how do you detect what a fake agent is on the timeline?
In that framing, we have a lot of organizations and agents saying they're going to do something and then the ability to actually do that now is pretty disconnected. So, from your own experience, you needed to learn before you were able to do. And I think you came up with the LARP detector that actually scraped GitHubs. And saw what they did. Yeah. So in that respect, the timeline is saturated with all these promises of what AI will do and not what it's doing. So yeah, that's kind of.
Oh my God, they're so lame, bro. You have AI tech and you could build products instantly. You don't got to be like, I think like we're gonna make a product that does this. Just make it. Just make it. Like I wouldn't buy any of the like we're gonna do this, bro. If you can't like sign up for it and use it, and it's kind of like this is like mid development, but for the most part, it's just do it. Like I want to see the actual thing. I want to see demos. I don't want to see a paper, especially now and with how good AI technology has gotten. If someone has a product out there and I think the product is cool, I could screenshot that product. I could put it into O3. I could add a prompt. I'm like, yo, I like this product. Make me this product. It makes it for me in one prompt. So we're rapidly entering the age of why would someone use my product over their product? And because of marketing and branding and trust, it's because it's my product. People will get familiar with my face. People get familiar with the brand. In the world of where I think we're villains in this case, but AI agents start like infiltrating social media, trust, and I think the human verification part becomes very important.
Hi, thanks a lot. Very interesting session. So my question is more around how do you see this new age we're in, especially you interacting with vibe coding and where it's like super easy to create apps. So 2 points, competition and monetization. How do you see people handle the competition where you're building products and immediately you launch it, someone else can just take the same product and just tell AI to create it? And how do you see people monetize this product? Where do you see it going from there?
When you say monetized product, are you talking about the specific?
Just monetizing like the ability for AI to create new things. So like, let's say marketing is one area where people just post stuff. My difficulty right now is like, how do I tie monetization to some of these products? So even when you're building software as a service, you still, because you need to sort of differentiate yourself, but it's like everyone can now do this. So how do you differentiate yourself when everyone can essentially, we all have the power to build, let's say with a prompt now?
Storytelling.
Yeah.
So just kind of what I just said before your question is I can take someone's product, I can make it. Why would someone use my product over theirs? Because I diff them in marketing, bro. Because like my product has more attention than theirs. So people are going to use mine. And yeah, if it looks better and I tell a better story and people like mine better, then they'll use it. In terms of monetization, just like if it's an AI product, I think the best way to monetize is through tokens and usage, depending on what the platform is. And then subscriptions or different plans.
Yeah, I'll also say there's certain advantages to like, there's a few things here. One is like with SaaS platforms, you could always like win with economies of scale. So like one of the things that we run into with the social platforms is you have to use the APIs and some of them like charge you money and like they're kind of expensive. So upfront, we may not want to pay for those APIs now and allow users to use their keys. And a lot of software like AI products allow users to put in their own API keys for it. But if those API keys are really expensive for the end user, your product's not winning until you really have like a cheaper API because you have the economies of scale there. Then there's also like the aspect of like, what are you, actually building? Because I think there is a big world of technology that AI cannot build yet. And that is just stuff that is either on the cutting edge or there's just very little existing information about those things online. So like, for example, and this isn't exactly what you're saying, but like if you try to get an AI to write any program using Python or TypeScript versus like C# or Cobalt, like it's gonna do much better in the Python and TypeScript because there's way more data on the internet that have the Python and TypeScript. So like there are still a big category of products that can't really be touched by AI, but these are the products that are usually people who are very specialized in their field. They know a specific problem that like really isn't widely known and they could solve it with it. So in addition to like what Bootoshi is saying around distribution, which I think has become so much more important in the past few years because of like what you're saying. It is easier to build products and put things out there, but there is still always going to be the problem of like solving a really hard burning problem for people. And if, you know, I don't know what your background is, but that's where I would say like lean into what your expertise is in, because you're also pitching from a place of like, I know this problem really well, rather than like, I just built this software. And I think people resonate with that a lot, and that helps in the marketing and distribution.
Two-part question: Have you played around with avatars as the response sort of mechanism rather than just chat?
We are playing around with avatars. It's just it's like I said, like we want to get the text down really well and make all that work, because the avatars are kind of in a way just like you're throwing another piece on top of it. You still need the text to work really well for the avatars. But yeah, it's something we're definitely considering. And when we get into Instagram and TikTok, that's going to be a big one.
And then I guess kind of related in terms of trying to encapsulate, you know, say an artist personality. Have you played around, say I've got 100 hours of video footage of an artist doing their thing and using that to extract the information that they can use to reflect their personality? Yeah, so I'm actually working on a tool just like that. One of my advisors is like the right-hand man to Robert Cialdini. I don't know if you guys know him. He wrote the book Influence, and he just gave me a bunch of good assessments to use. But he runs like a leadership coaching, ethics kind of assessment company, and that's what they do. They take video, actually meeting transcripts, and they analyze them with generative AI, and they create a personality from it. So that data is actually some of the most rich in terms of like extracting psychological and personality qualities from a person and teaching an AI how to use it. So that's definitely a technique that we're looking at. Videos, images, text being processed and then creating a personality from that information. And actually, if you guys want to have some fun, if you use ChatGPT a lot, just go ask ChatGPT to do it now, because it has a memory system, and you could just say, hey, given all our memories, create a personality card of me and then simulate me. And it's like, it's pretty uncanny. So just like a warning, but like it's a really fun thing to do.
Are there any more questions? Okay.
We are going to have to wrap up because we have another event starting in 30 minutes. But if you guys want to stick around for a little bit and chat with everyone, we can go in the cafe and hang out for the next 30 minutes. And but thank you so much for coming. AI Cafe here is every Thursday morning here.
Cool.
So
thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys so much.